Hey everybody, welcome to Bones Collector. Commercial free and no long music intro. Hey, this video is about my top 10 tile laying games. It was a video that I've been wanting to make for a while. We love tile laying games and we have a lot of them in our library. A bunch of them did not make this top 10 list, but that doesn't make them any less loved by us. Two of them I want to mention are Quadropolis and Barren Park. We love those games so much and they just didn't make this cut. But I love those games and they're not going out of my library ever, as far as I can tell. Here's our top 10 tile laying games list, and I'll try to make it as brief and quick as possible. Let me tell you a little bit about each of these games, what they have in common. First of all, they play anywhere from 2 to 5 players, and they play excellent at the 2-player count. So that's very important to us. And here we go with number 10 by Michael Kiesling, Sansuchi. This is a game that I think is in our top 20 games that we love to play video. And I love playing this game. It has a neat tile selection mechanism in it. Each player has a deck of cards. You take 2 of those cards into your hand and you have to select one of them to make your tile selection off the main market board in the center of the table. And this Sansuchi, I believe, is a castle, and you're building on your player mat. You're making a beautiful garden that you want, I don't know if it's governors or whatever that you use. You want them to see it, and as you build them, these governors move down your player mat, and you score points for how far those guys go down down the garden. So you get points for that, and I think points for the tiles themselves. It has a lot of variability in it. Some overlay tiles with printing on both sides, so you can play either side of those on top of your player mat. Plus your player mat itself, I believe, can be flipped over and play the other side, which is a different garden altogether. So that's pretty cool. A lot of variability in the game. The tile selection mechanism of card play for each player is pretty cool. But it's called Sansuchi. It's by Michael Kiesling. It's been out for a number of years. I love playing it. It's an excellent tile laying game. Number 9 is a game by Lucas Hedgren and published by Bezier Games. It's called Subdivision. And Subdivision doesn't, I don't know, it just doesn't get much buzz. And everybody was always enamored with Suburbia. And I played Suburbia and we liked Suburbia. I didn't love Suburbia, I loved this game. And the reason why this one is so special to us is the restrictive nature of it. You have, in Suburbia, you can sprawl your city that you're making, and in Subdivision, you have a player mat that restricts how big you can make your subdivision. And it has a die in it. When you roll that die, it gives you a color or an icon or something, and you have to build on that color. And that really is the meat of this game, is trying to get around that. You can pay $1, and I think those are called zoning restrictions, and you can build outside that zoning restriction, but $1 in this game is so hard to come by. You really don't, it's hard to let go of that $1 just to build in another place. But sometimes you have to. But when you roll that die, that color comes up, you have to build on that color. You have to make sure that the tiles that you do lay down can all reach a road. That also is very difficult to do in the game. And then, and of course, the tiles themselves, as you lay them down, have benefits and activate other tiles around them. So that's Subdivision, and it's a wonderful game. I wish Bezier Games would give this a deluxe treatment, not like Suburbia, because I think they went overboard there, but something, just a step up from this with bigger, more colorful tiles and thicker tiles, thicker player mats, that kind of thing, because it's an excellent game and it deserves it. But I don't want some great big box, so I'd like them to just like take this box, shove a deluxe game inside of it, and make me buy it. Thank you, Bezier Games. Please go to work on that. The next game, number 8, is a game by Jeffrey Allers called Citrus. In Citrus, you are a plantation owner, or you're building plantations around a finca, and it has a pretty neat market selection where you have to buy a whole row of tiles. And you want to lay those tiles near a finca to try to get bonus tiles on the board. And if you build towards those and build over top of those, you're going to pick that tile up and get that benefit. So you're after those bonus tiles on the board. You're after the majority around the fincas, because the finca will have like 2 numbers on it, 12 points and 4 points, and whoever has the majority around that finca gets a 12 points, and the person that has the least amount, it gets 4. So again, plays well at 2. It's beautiful to look at on the table. It's a very meaty game that every decision in it is tough, and I love that. I call it being crisp in a board game, because every decision you make in Citrus will affect your game, and I like that. I don't really like games where you can make a decision and it really didn't matter one way or the other. You can make up for it 2 turns later. I like it when you make a decision and that has everything to do with what's happening right now. And if you make a bad decision, it's going to be tough to recover from it. So I like that. And Citrus is like that. Very tough decisions, fun to play. We've had it for quite a while. And again, it's my number 8 game, Tile Laying. And number 7 by Alexander Pfister and Andreas Pelikan is Isle of Skye. From Chieftain to King. I like this, first of all, because it's a nice little box. I really enjoy that. And this game has a bidding mechanism in it that's pretty cool. You have to bid in hidden circumstances, and then you lift your screen and everything is revealed on what you bid on, which tiles and so forth. So that's pretty cool. And then the scoring in this game is pretty awesome, because you have 16 bonus tiles in the box. You're only going to use 4 in each game. So that's pretty cool. You just pick them out at random, throw them on the scoring board, and like in round 1, it'll say you're going to score A and C. Then round 2, you're going to score C and D. In round 3, maybe you'll score A, C, and D, something like that. So you can see that coming and make a plan for those 4 bonus tiles that did make the game. And those bonus tiles will give you different configurations and ways that you're going to have to lay your tiles in the Isle of Skye. So that's so cool. Every time we play this game, I fall in love with it all over again. It's by Alexander Pfister. It's a beautiful tiling experience and beautiful board gaming experience, Isle of Skye. Okay, number 6, Santa Maria by Christian Atzby and Isla Svensson. And Santa Maria is an exploration game. This is a dice drafting game. I really enjoy dice drafting, and it's one of my favorite mechanisms in board gaming, and tile laying is just something that we really like to do. So in this game, you have a main board with a couple of tech tracks on it that you're going to pay attention to when you're drafting those dice. There's 6 dice that are rolled. If in a 2-player game, you get 3, the other player is going to get 3, and those decisions are tough, folks, when you're going to choose those dice. And the way those dice are randomly rolled, that's going to shape your game. It depends on what numbers come up, but all players have to deal with the dice that are rolled. So if you won a 2 and no 2s are rolled, what are you going to do? You're going to have to make do with what dice were, the numbers that did come up. And you take turns drafting those. On your player mat, you're going to activate rows and columns according to the number on the die. And it's just an excellent game. I forget the year, 2017, that says on the box that it came out. It was one of my favorite games of 2017. If you haven't played it, you don't know what you're missing. Santa Maria. Okay, this is number 5. Came out last year. This is Isle of Cats. The Isle of Cats by Frank West. It was my game of the year for 2019. That's how good it is. And the production of this game is off the charts. As you can see, a nice thick box. This is the thickest board game box. I wish they were all this thick. This is amazing. But in Isle of Cats, each player will have a ship that they're going to use once they acquire tiles and lay those tiles on the ship in a certain fashion to score points. Obviously, that's what we're all about in board gaming, is scoring points, and let these kitties escape the Vesh, I think, that's coming to the island to take over. But the kitties are trying to escape off the island, and we're trying to help them. And everything about this game is beautiful. It has a card mechanic in it that you have to work your way through, and that makes this game special. I really love it. Isle of Cats by Frank West. Game of the year in 2019 as far as I was concerned. Number 4 by Stefan Feld, Amerigo. Now in Amerigo, it's an exploration game. You're going to have a board with islands on it, and those islands are different sizes, and you're out, take your ship and move it through the seas to these islands and acquire tiles to lay on the islands. in certain fashions to score points, because that's what we do. And this game is unique because it has a cube tower in it that's pretty cool. And kind of like in Santa Maria with the dice rolling, in Amerigo, when you throw those cubes down the tower, whatever comes out at the bottom, you put in the center of the selection board, and those are the actions that you can take. And each color of cube has a certain action, so that depending on what cubes come out, that's the strategy for your game. You may not get the color you want, so you're going to have to change up. I love thinking on the fly like that. That cube tower drives your strategy in this game. And every decision in this game is difficult. Every decision will affect the outcome. And I love those kinds of games, as I said before. And Amerigo by Stefan Feld, it's incredible. The box is kind of big because of that cube tower. But folks, I'm telling you what, it's a beautiful experience. It's my number 4 tile laying game, Amerigo. Number 3. Yeah, it's Stefan Feld again. It's called Castles of Burgundy. And the Castles of Burgundy, what hasn't been said about this game that I can say? Probably nothing. But it's on many, many people's top 10 of all time. It's on many people's not only top 10 list for tile laying, but strategy board games, top 10. But it's such a beautiful experience, and the complex simplicity of this game is what is amazing. It just makes your little gray cells tingle when you play it. You have a player mat of an estate that you're going to put together. You're a Prince of Burgundy and you want to build the most prosperous estate. Every player has 2 dice. You roll those dice. Whatever comes up on those dice, you're going to be able to make that selection off the market board and choose a tile. I think there's like commodity tiles up on that board also that you can sell, and also you can make selections of tiles that you're going to place on your player mat. And then you have to have the right number in order to place them also, but there's a way to place them to get benefits and score points, and Castles of Burgundy does it better than most games. And it's one of those games that I think once you play it, anybody falls in love with it, and you just can't get enough of it. And every time you drag it out, again, you fall in love with it all over again. Castles of Burgundy by Stefan Feld. Okay, my number 2 tile laying game is Matthias Kramer's Glenmoore. And this part of the video might look a little different because I've screwed it up so many times. I had to stick this in later, so yeah, might look a little different. But Glenmoore is a game about building a village, and you have a market board that's very cool because in it, the selection mechanism is whoever is in the back, it's your turn. That's the player whose turn it is. And you can select any of the tiles between you and the next to last player +1. So that's pretty cool. Then you lay those tiles in your village and activate any tiles that are around it, and it's a wonderfully complex little game. It takes up nothing as far as footprint is concerned on the table, and I love that. And I love this little box. And this game is number 2 for a reason. It's an excellent game. If you can track it down, it's wonderful. Glenmoore by Matthias Kramer. Number 1 tile laying game of all time for me is Carpe Diem by Stefan Feld. Yes, I know Stefan Feld kind of took over this list, but he is who he is. He's held to a different standard by most people in the board gaming industry. Most board gamer hobbyists hold him to a different standard. Whenever he comes out with a game, they pick at it with a fine-tooth comb. They take a microscope and tweezers and they just pick at it, and just see where he made a mistake. And in Carpe Diem, it's a tile laying game that I absolutely adore. The thing that I really like about this game is, I think he's used it in Amerigo also, is you have like jigsaw puzzle pieces that make the frame of your player board, and on those puzzled borders, they're all different, and so they have pictures on them telling you where you have to make tile placements to score that particular kind of tile. So every game is different and every decision is difficult. You have a star figure on the tile selection mechanism where you're going to move your guy 2 spaces. You have to plan ahead 2 or 3 turns to make sure that those tiles that you want will be available for you, but they won't be because there's other players in the game and they're going to take the tile you want, and that's the beauty of it. And in Carpe Diem, the decisions, like I say, are very, very wonderful. They make you feel great because They're tough decisions to make, and there's a lot of tension in this game, and in any game worth its weight there has to be some kind of tension in it, and Carpe Diem has a bunch. So that's my #1 tile laying game of all time, Carpe Diem by Stefan Feld. I hope you enjoyed this video. All of these games again have a lot in common because they do play well at 2-player, even though they're multiplayer games. We really enjoy them and have had them in our library for a long time, and I don't see any of those games going anywhere anytime soon. All of those games that I just showed you are medium complexity games or less. Anybody can play them. That's another thing that makes them wonderful, and all of them play in 90 minutes or less. You can have them back in the box, and that's a beautiful thing to people our age. We do have a lot of other things like you. We're very busy. You guys probably, I'm sure, have all kinds of things that you do, jobs and kids, and a lot of times you can't sit at the table for over 90 minutes, and that's the way we are. So if you have any questions about those games at all, any comments or concerns you have, please leave your comments or concerns down below the video, or any questions. I'll get back to every one of you. It's my pleasure to bring these games to you today. I love every one of you. Keep on board gaming. It's the best hobby on the planet. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time on Bones Collector. Bye-bye.